nobody expected 3 Black people, Black artists, to come together. And she was iconic for all of us in similar and in different ways. I mean, I grew up watching, Dick Van Dyke, and the Mary Tyler Moore Show inspired me in terms of how I was crafting my life. So it's been a labor of love for all of us.
Absolutely. I think in my mind, I wanted to write a biopic. I think that's just sort of where my head went, and maybe my head always goes to me writing first. But that was it. I just said it, and it made the print, and the lovely Dr. Robert here saw it, and he was kind enough to open up the doors to their amazing home in Connecticut. And so I went up there, and we spent a lot of time just talking and like being around the house and having a conversation. And after that visit is what made me realize that it was not a biopic, it was a documentary. Even though I like to write and I like to produce things, I'm not a director, it's not what I do. But I wanted to get somebody good, somebody that would capture what we were going for. And James and I were working on something already at the same time about sneakers called You Ain't Got These. And we were working really well together, and he had to interview me for the docuseries. And I was so impressed with the questions you were asking and how present you were in that interview. And I just thought, this is the guy who I want to talk to people that were in Mary's life. And I was like, are you interested in Mary Tyler Moore at all? He's like, I'm not even that familiar, but I'll do some reading. And I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, if I'm correct, the Mary spell will work. I was like, he'll watch something, he'll read something, he'll fall under that magical spell that the world did. And he did. He came back and he was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Who was this woman?
The first meeting, it was like, oh, this is our guy, right? Because, and I think this team and Robert, had the vision for this, speaks to the universality of Mary Tyler Moore and what she stands for in her legacy.
People had come to me after Mary had passed and said, we want to do another bio, of Mary, and I really wasn't interested. It was only after I understood that Lena was, influenced by Mary that I said, this is the person that I want to tell Mary's story, because it's so current, it's so important. Who would think that Mary Tyler Moore would have influence, if you don't mind my saying, on a Black queer girl from South Side Chicago? Now, she was optimistic, she was vulnerable, she had spunk, she had grit, she had determination, and she was very gracious, and she was a door opener. And for me, Lena is a door opener. So when I suggested that we call it Being Mary, it was all about what does it mean to be a Mary. And for me, Lena was being a Mary.
The persona was very different from the person. And that was really fascinating to me. And I think that's what we were able to explore in the documentary that I don't even know we were able to get at in a biopic, because we needed to hear from other people in her life to talk about who she was to the world versus who she was to them.
We all understand what it means to be predefined by the patriarchy of this country. And that was expressed within the pages of Mary's book, and I was able to hold on to that and use that as a guiding light for how I chose to steer the ship.